Congratulations! You've made it to the fourth and final part of this lab report tutorial series. In this video, we will describe how to write a conclusion, an evaluation, citing sources, and the final extra part in the lab report, the part describing how you would want to further extend your knowledge on a subject if you had all the time and money in the world. If you haven't seen the other parts of this tutorial series, there will of course be a link to those videos in the description below. Without further ado, let's start learning. Conclusion. A conclusion is the part in a lab report where you sum up the results for your reader. When writing a conclusion for a lab report in M1P 1-3, there are two main parts. First of all, you'll want to start by drawing a conclusion of your data, which should be a direct answer to your research question/aim. In other words, you write down what your results mean. What do they show? Is there a trend or pattern in the data? While analyzing your results, you'll want to explain your results scientifically. Why is it that I'm seeing this? Remember, this part is important. It is of course a lab report for science. Then, once you've concluded your results, you'll need to write if there was strong support, weak support, or no support for your hypothesis. Again, you can never prove your hypothesis is correct. As a final note, it is handy to note that in later years, so not in M1P 1-3, you'll often need to briefly restate the lab experiment, the purpose of the lab experiment, and the methods used to obtain your data. In later years, you'll also want to state whether your experiment succeeded. Did your results of your experiment allow you to answer your aim/research question? Evaluation. The evaluation is a section in which you evaluate the method that you have used for your experiment. You write down the main weaknesses of your method, how it manipulated your data, and how this could have improved for next time. Here are a few things to think about when writing your evaluation. Was your experiment fair? Are the results valid? Could you have done the experiment in a better way? What are these ways? Were there any systematic errors? Was there something wrong with the equipment? Were there any controlled variables that you should have taken into account? And did your method measure what you were supposed to measure in order to answer your research question? For example, did you use too little of a metal to see a difference in the dependent variable? In order to meet a level 8 in the criteria, you want to give several ways, roughly 5, in which your method could be improved. Extending your knowledge on a subject. The final part you'll see in a lab report stencil and on the criteria sheet is the section regarding how you would want to further investigate and extend your knowledge on a subject if you had all the time and money in the world. And basically, that's what you need to write. Be creative. If you are really struggling, an example, if you are investigating the reactivity of alkali metals with acids, you could investigate how different, more expensive or rarer acids affect the reactivity between acids and the alkali metal. Citing sources. When you're writing any academic paper, regardless of the subject, you'll generally want to cite your sources. In later years, however, this is mandatory. This also means that you need to cite the sources for the information you have gathered for your lab report. There are various ways to cite your sources. However, at the ISG, we tend to use MLA. Now, of course, if you haven't been taught MLA yet, you'll most likely learn it in M1P 3. Till then, citing the URL link is often enough. However, check with your teacher just to make sure. Now, if you are in M1P 3, it is good practice to also include in-text citations. This is preparation for later years where in-text citations are also mandatory. Finally, if you're confused where to write your sources, you'll want to write them on the last page of your lab report. Then, you'll want to state the word or words, bibliography, sources, or work cited above your sources to help the teacher understand that this is the part for your sources. So, you finally made it to the end of this lab report tutorial series. Congratulations! You deserve to congratulate yourself on watching the entire tutorial series. In this tutorial series, we've discussed everything you need to know about writing a lab report in M1P 1-3. Now, as a final remark, when you're writing lab reports in later years, you'll have to write a lab report that is way more advanced. You might need to write an introduction, a research question, an abstract, etc. However, for now, you have learned everything you need to know for writing a lab report in M1P 1-3. And that's pretty much it for the video and the tutorial series. I wish you good luck on future lab reports. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. fill in our form on the website, and give us some feedback on how we can improve, as we are also here to improve.